On any given weekend, there's a symphony of man and machines being played out on motocross tracks across the United States and around the world. In order for the two to work together in harmony, not only must the ATV be tuned for different track conditions, but it must also be set up to meet the specific needs of each rider. Responsible for tuning the machines, mechanics are the unsung heroes of the ATV racing world. Having a good mechanic on your side can often make the difference between last and first place. Over the last few seasons, mechanic Chis Delegard has played a vital role in Joe Byrd's racing program as he's contested the pro class at the GNC Series. In the end, Chris and his rider Joe Byrd have always been strong finishers, but poor starts and inconsistency early in the season have kept them out of the points chase. This year, round one from Glen Helen, it appeared that their momentum had carried over from their win last year at Loretta Lynn's as Joe takes the series opener. In the second moto of round two, Joe Byrd found himself battling with Corey Ellis in the lead when Corey had a problem with his kill switch, allowing Joe Byrd to slip by and take the second moto victory in the overall in Alvord, Texas. With the points lead heading into round three, Chris had the number 7 machine tuned for the whole shot. By the end of the first moto, a blown shock dropped Joe Byrd in the back of the pack. When the gate fell for Moto 2, it was once again Joe Byrd out front, but quickly John Natale passed him for the lead. Eventually, Byrd would take second in the second moto, giving him 5th place overall, while Natale took second, leaving him 1 point up on the Ironman heading into round 4 in Georgia.
And at this level of competition, the pro class, where would you be without a mechanic? Is it possible to do something like Travis did last year?
I mean, you got to have luck with that. Anything's possible, but you definitely need a mechanic. I mean, Chris worked for me 7 days a week during the season, and
it's a full-time job.
Yeah, it's his full-time job. I mean, this is a business now like any other, and it takes someone like Chris to make it all happen. I mean, Doug has one, John has one, I have one, Tim has. You have to have, somebody working for you full-time and to have a relationship. I can't just have somebody tighten the bolts and go on. He doesn't know set up or anything like that. The bike's got to be set up a certain way and
you guys
everything dialed in.
You guys pretty much friendly as well, or is it all business? Are you guys friends?
Well, you got to be friends with the guy, or you're never going to jail. You can't just be a stiff neck and write the check out and he goes home. You got to jail, and that's why some mechanics jail with the riders and some don't. So you can't do it just for paycheck. You got to have a passion for the sport, and Chris has a passion for the sport.
Excellent.
He wants Joe Byrd to win, not because he gets paid.
Excellent, good stuff. So it's a definite, genuine relationship. How long have you known him?
I'm going to know Chris 3.5, 4 years, something like that.
Okay.
After making last-minute preparations to the machine, Chis Delegard and his rider head down to the starting gate for the beginning of moto number 1. Unfortunately, for Chris and his rider Joe Byrd, it was one of their worst starts of the season, as they found themselves in 14th place and having to battle their way toward the front. With Byrd out on the track battling his way through traffic, Chris heads over with the other mechanics to pit for his rider throughout the first moto. Spectacular ride, Joe passed more than half the field, but still came up short of a first moto victory. Happy with his rider's finish, Chris heads back to the pits to work out a strategy and prep the machine for moto number 2.
I think we got 4th.
He got around half.
He did?
Yeah, he got around half.
All right. Well, we should have 4th then, I think. You think so?
Y'all was catching on down. I said nobody pressure. Nobody pressure. Doug come out, 7th or 8th, and couldn't couldn't get him.
What,
It's all right. You get
stiffen up the high speed or to the back?
Bottom's hard. I think we need to go to stiffer main.
Well, if we got a stiffer main.
Like a 160 or whatever. The other one's 170, I think.
Okay. Just couldn't get around nobody. Everybody took the same exact line the whole track, from what I could see. We finally got that good line over the double-double thing right up here, where you could actually clear them both. That's how Natali pulled out so fast. He was doing that almost the whole lap.
Maybe they haven't had nobody behind him.
I know. Who got second? Who got third? Doug got second, right? Or no?
Ellis got third. I got
Ellis got third. You got fourth. You were right on Ellis at the end too, aren't you?
All right, Chris, here we are in between motos. What goes on in between motos? I see you're definitely busy. What are you doing?
Right now I'm gonna change a set of tires out. Change tires out every moto. Run a new set of rubber. That way it has the best traction we can have. Stuff like that. What's up, dude? Good? Yeah, I got it back on everything.
What other changes are made in between motos? I know you wash the quad, you look over everything and change the clutch. What else did you guys do?
There's minor changes we do, minor adjustments. Maybe some suspension adjustments, some little bit of motor adjustments, nothing major. Depends on how the track is, depends on how the bike works first moto. Bike works good, we leave it. That's the best thing about it.
How did the bike work? Were we set up pretty good for Moto 1, or what did he have to say?
Yeah, bike worked pretty decent Moto 1. I said it's extremely rough, so it's kind of hard to, you know, do it for everything. You got to tune for the rough stuff, but, you know, it's a really rough track out there. This track's known to get real rough, so.
I'm just staring at this yoke pipe, and I know you guys got your tank and stuff. Did you guys pass the limit, or what?
Yeah, we passed. We passed. Everybody doesn't think we're going to pass with such a big tailpipe, but we passed. We're pretty good.
What was your reading? Did it tell you what it came in at?
99.8 or something like that.
It's supposed to be 102 is the legal.
102 is the legal limit, yeah. So we got a couple more to go.
Cool.
So.
Still no protest yet.
No.
Slow you down yet, huh?
No protest yet. We're waiting. We figure it's coming sooner or later. You know, when Joe Byrd started pulling hole shots, we figured we were getting protested, but
it's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
So.
What was his attitude in between motos here? Was he frustrated? Because he was definitely moving, but it seemed like he was clogged up in traffic a little bit.
Yeah. You can get frustrated, but I mean that's the way racing goes. Sometimes you come out of the gate not good, and you know we spun a little bit coming out, and didn't come out in the beginning, and came out I think 15th or something like that. So he worked his way through the pack, got 4th overall. Just trying to focus and relax and get ready for the next moto.
What goes through your head knowing that there's so much riding on this? You've got a lot of responsibility. How do you handle that?
Just try to stay focused. There's a lot to check, a lot to do. I go over every nut and bolt on this bike in between motos. Everything, make sure it's all tight and ready to go.
Are you also responsible for Heather Bird's equipment too? Or?
I help out with her program. Her dad at the races is her mechanic and does a lot of stuff. I help out around the house and try to keep her going as well as Joe. Before the gate drops, everything goes through my head is the bike where it needs to be? Have I done everything I needed to do to the best of my ability to make sure it's right? And once the gate drops, comes out of the hole shot, you know, wondering how he's going to do through the first term. He goes good and there isn't any accidents or pileups or anything like that. And then once everything's underway, kind of sit back, relax, and watch how things are going. And I get nervous, especially if we're out front. You know, make sure the bike's going to get hold up, stuff like that. And don't want any mechanical failures, anything like that. So.
Right.
Thank you.
Do you watch the competition as the race goes down and kind of give Joe insights on who's going to be tough to beat in Sakamoto?
Yeah, I watch how the race is going. I look for different lines that other people are taking, stuff like that. And I watch, you know, if people are making a lot of passes, where they're making passes. We try to, you know, talk to him, say, hey, I saw this here. I don't, you know, sometimes he always sees it before I do. And
Right.
but you never know. 2 eyes are better than one, they always say. So I try to watch out for what everybody's doing and tell him and different stuff.
During practice and stuff, are you putting a stopwatch on certain riders and trying to compare?
No, I usually don't do anything. I normally don't do any stopwatching or anything like that. Practice is exactly that. It's practice. You know, they're not going as hard as they do during the race, and you know, they might go a couple lines, a couple straightaways and turns hard, then they slack off a little bit usually. So it's hard to get an honest reading who's going to be going good by a stopwatch in practice. You know.
It's kind of interesting to see how a mechanic communicates to his rider via pit board.
Yeah.
Stuff that you guys have ever done. I mean, does he know what you're meaning? It's kind of a creative way to put the least amount of words on a pit board to say what you need to say.
Yeah.
What is some of the pit board strategies that go on throughout the race? What are you doing with the pit board?
Normally the only things I'm doing is I tell him what place he's in, how much time he has in that moto, and tell him to relax, tell him to breathe, sometimes tell him to focus. And I mean, I don't have to tell him to go or to pass that guy. He knows to go. He knows to pass the guy. In the second moto, there's a little bit more that goes on with the pit board and communication that way, because you got overalls to think about, and if you don't have to pass the guy in front of you for an overall, I mean, why risk getting in an accident to try to pass the guy and losing it all? So I'll tell him, you know, pass 12 for overall or pass whoever for overall. And, you know, or I'll tell him don't need it.
Just in your head, you got a little clipboard.
Yeah.
It's a math.
It's a math equation. Yeah, you just got to remember where people finish the first moto, and sometimes it gets pretty hectic. And I'll write it down on a piece of duct tape. And go from there, you know, and I'll add it up while we're going along and stuff. Yeah, I live in Union City, about 2 miles from Joe. I moved up there when I started working for him, so.
On an average week, how often are you at Joe's, what do we call it, Joe's complex or whatever you want to
The compound?
call it? Yeah.
Every day. I'm there 7 days a week.
What's a typical day? Every day you're tearing down a motor? What are you doing every day?
Between races, going through the race bike, making sure everything's good with that, and then, you know, maintaining the practice bike, stuff like that.
Right. What about Joe's riding school? Are you involved in that at all?
No.
That's his deal?
That's his deal.
Okay. Does Joe have any responsibility on the bike at all, or is it 100% you?
What do you mean by that question?
Bar setup and stuff.
Yeah, he does. He gives me a lot of feedback. He tells me what he wants me to change, stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of setup in the front end, stuff like that needs to be set up, and he'll come in and tell me change this, change that. So I'll go into it and change it for him.
Right.
With the machine all ready to go and 3 o'clock fast approaching, it was time to head down and sweep off the starting line in preparation for the beginning of moto number 2.
This one's yours, all right? Let's go, baby! Let's go, Byrd! Let's go home! Go, baby!
Pros rounded the first turn for the second moto. It was Joe Byrd coming away with a much better start, this time to third place. Joe Byrd quickly dealt with Pat Brown, moving into second place, leaving him to battle with the Ironman for the lead. Despite a valiant effort, Joe Byrd took second in the second moto, giving him second overall for the weekend, and dropping him 4 points behind John Natale in the points chase.
Good race, man.
Fucking time Joe got damn tired. Man, he is in shape.
What?
Joe is in shape.
Excuse me.
Despite their strong showing in the face of adversity, Chis Delegard and Joe Byrd weren't happy with losing the points lead to John Natale. After a strong third-place start at round 5 at Bud's Creek, Joe quickly worked his way around number 199 Pat Brown and into second. After becoming entangled with Doug Gust, Joe Byrd eventually finished 4th place in the first moto, while Natale finished second to Jeremiah Jones. In the second moto, Joe Byrd battled from a poor start back to a second-place finish, while John Natale, who was still fighting arm pump, eventually finished 4th. Finishing 1 place above John Natale at Bud's Creek has allowed Chis Delegard and rider Joe Byrd to once again tie it up in the points chase heading into round 6. Watch for Chris and rider Joe Byrd as they contend for the GNC title throughout the rest of the 2006 season.